All right, so you see the title of my video, 3 Activities that Lesbians Need to Do While Single. I am Giselle Wallace, lesbian life coach and author. Here on my YouTube channel, I provide my lesbian perspective, and if that interests you, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you. While you are single, this is a magnificent time for you as a single lesbian. We live in a society that does not really celebrate singlehood, and it especially does not celebrate lesbians. And that's why I want to give you some information about what you should do now while you are single and you are a lesbian. Because it's imperative for you to complete certain tasks and accomplish certain goals while you're single in order for you to be a very fulfilled woman who identifies as a lesbian. Now, some women will choose to be single, but it will be very few women who remain single. Because true singlehood means that on a perpetual state, you will not be romantically, emotionally, or sexually linked with another woman. Because you are single, which means that you are alone. Being alone is not bad. Being alone does not mean that you are lonely. And being alone does not mean that you have an issue. Being single is a state of mind. Being single is a relationship status. Your very first relationship should be with yourself. True singlehood is very necessary for all lesbian women. You need to be single for a period of time. For those very few women who remain single perpetually, these women usually identify as asexual women. Or they may be women who have been in relationships romantically tied to a previous partner, and they realize that being in a relationship with another person is not suitable for them. And they believe that they can remain single for the entirety of their life. This is a very rare state. And so most women, the majority of women, will be single only for a season. And then they will transition into being in a relationship with another woman, which ultimately should lead to marriage. You will date someone and eventually find a compatible same-sex partner and get married. Because marriage is the optimal level of relationship. It requires commitment, love, responsibility. It also requires maturity, faith, as well as building legacy as a union. Because when you become married, you are no longer single. You are a partnership that comes together in unison. But before you get to that state, you need to do certain activities in order for you to be prepared to be married. And I'm going to cover that today briefly. And these 3 activities that lesbians need to do while single are sometimes never fulfilled, never focused on, never taken seriously. And the reason why could be various reasons, but kind of goes back to what I initially stated, where we live in a society that does not pay much attention to singles. They don't educate singles, and they especially do not educate single lesbians. The programming we have is that we need a man. And this type of program is very debilitating for single lesbian women, and it causes them to forfeit what they need to do for themselves as single women. So I will go over 3 activities that lesbians need to do while single. This is not a list that prioritizes one activity over the other. Each one is very imperative, and I'll just go in chronological order. So the first activity that lesbians need to do while single is to invest in as much knowledge and information as you possibly can about lesbianism. You more than likely have been taught that being a lesbian is a phase, or that being a lesbian is unnatural. And even you have been indoctrinated that being a lesbian is immoral, a sin, an abomination. So you're going to have to reprogram yourself and study lesbianism. The reason why you need to take this activity very seriously is because if you don't know about your history, if you don't know who you genuinely are, then you will be lost, and you will be susceptible to all of the programming that surrounds you. Most of us as lesbians have not escaped the programming, and I call it, quote, heterosexual programming. This is where you have been brainwashed to believe that you are a female heterosexual, and that if you divert from heterosexual norms, then you are being rebellious. They probably will label you a feminist, and they also will question your sanity. And this is why it's imperative that you educate yourself about who you are as a lesbian, because this will build up your self-knowledge, your self-esteem, your self-worth, and your self-confidence, as well as your self-control. There are many single lesbians who are like the waves of the sea, being tossed to and fro, back and forth, because they don't have any foundation on who they are. They have been highly influenced by their family, their church community, the people they work with, politicians, and even the educational sector has convinced you that being a lesbian is not real. They don't even educate you about lesbian history. How many of you have ever read a book by a lesbian woman? How many of you have ever listened to a documentary about a lesbian woman? How many of you actually support lesbian women? And I don't mean by supporting them by just saying, oh, I know who that is. Really supporting someone means that you financially invest in someone. Like you perhaps may donate to their organization. You may purchase their book. You may buy a ticket to their movie, their play. You actually financially invest in the works of lesbian professionals, artists. This is what true support is. What most people don't realize is, yes, there is free information out there, such as this. If you're listening to this YouTube video, this is free information for you. You're not having to pay anything to listen to this, but I believe in providing content and services to people where they don't have to pay. But I also believe that there are certain works that need to be financially invested in. And the reason why is because, well, lesbians have to earn a living. And in order for them to fulfill their work at the optimal level, they need to be compensated. Anyone who does any form of work needs to be compensated in order to continue to do the work, which actually reaches countless of people and benefits their life and allows them the opportunity to fulfill their work as well. See, there's so many women who are not able to fulfill the work at the optimal level that they would like to because they're not supported by the lesbian community. So when you invest in a lesbian, you're actually investing in yourself because it's a domino effect. Each one of us helps each other. So I, as a businesswoman, I provide services such as life coaching. I'm also an author. I'm an entrepreneur. I have my own academy, Giselle Wallace Lesbian Academy, where I provide courses in lesbians, courses for lesbians to teach and educate our community so that we can learn our way as same-sex attracted people. There are so many lesbians who do different types of work. They're different type of professions, and we need to be supportive of them. I practice what I teach. I have paid for life coaching. I have invested in buying books. I have paid for films. I have went to different types of events and conferences where I invest in another lesbian woman's business to support them. But I know at the same time, while I'm supporting her, I'm also investing in my own life, because there's some information that you cannot get without paying a price. For example, when you go to college, when you go to university, or if you're just taking courses, it's not free. You have to pay for the tuition to take the class. And the reason why is because that educational system that is set up for you needs to be financially supported. It costs to produce materials. And it's also a person's time that they are giving to their audience. And the information, the material, the education, the lessons will benefit you for the rest of your life. And there's some information that is not public information. You can only get it when you pay for it. And so if you are not truly investing in lesbian workers, then you are not educating yourself. So we have to educate ourselves. We have to know our history. We have to be proactively involved in learning about ourselves as lesbians, because nobody is going to do that for you. You must do it yourself. I remember being a young lesbian woman and wanting to know more about lesbians. I didn't have anyone around me who was a lesbian. I had to learn on my own who I was. But when I was able to get privy to information, I took advantage of that information. I would go to the library, I would read, I would study, I would intentionally take classes where I learned more about lesbianism. I learned about women's rights, women's history, and I would actually financially invest in learning more about lesbianism. You can even go and just, if you know a lesbian artist, if she's a painter, if she's a sculptor, if you go buy her painting, her works of art, you are supporting her. There are lesbian musical artists. If you go buy their music, if you go pay for a ticket to attend their concert, if you buy merchandise from people, products and services, you are investing in the lesbian community. Ladies, one of the best ways to overcome internalized homophobia is by educating yourself about being a lesbian. If you've ever questioned if being a lesbian is legit, or you're just making things up in your mind about being a lesbian, if you've ever thought, well, maybe I can like men romantically, but you cannot even fathom being with a man, you have been deeply impacted by heterosexual programming. You have been affected by society, and that's why you need to learn as much as you possibly can about being a lesbian. And make sure that you validate the resources. Go to people who you trust. There's a lot of misinformation out here, and there's people who will even try to dissuade you from believing in yourself. They can do that by showing disinterest in your interests. If you have someone who doesn't support who you are, they don't take you seriously, and they don't even respect how you view yourself, then these are the type of people you need to avoid. And you need to uplift yourself. You need to encourage yourself and be surrounded by resources and sources who benefit you and inspire you as a lesbian. And sometimes you have to go out of your way to get involved. Go to a conference. Go to that film. Get involved in a membership group for lesbians, but they need to be supportive and they don't need to be toxic, because you don't want to go somewhere where they're degrading other groups of people who have different sexual orientations or genders. So I don't condone being in any type of group or membership that is very prejudiced. And, they can be arrogant about being a lesbian or being a part of a certain society. No, you need to be somewhere where people are acknowledging who they are and uplifting the lesbian community, but at the same time, they're not degrading other people. So that is the first activity that you need to involve yourself in as a lesbian who is single. You need to educate yourself about being a lesbian, educate yourself about lesbian history and lesbianism. Now, the second activity that lesbians need to do while single, you need to practice self-care. And self-care is not just going to a day spa or getting a manicure or a pedicure or getting your hair done at the salon or at the barbershop or getting a massage. That is self-care, absolutely. But self-care also entails taking care of your mental health, your emotional health, your spiritual health, and your sexual health. As a single lesbian, you need to be involved in self-care. Mental health is so important for us to pay attention to. We as lesbians face a lot of discrimination, and we're women, or you are of the female sex, and you already are viewed as inferior to the male sex in so many ways. It can be very subtle or it can be very overt. However you experience discrimination or being led to believe that you are inferior to the male sex, this is very intentional. And it also hinders women from being at their full potential. And it's even more intense if you are a woman who is a lesbian, because being a lesbian means that you are attracted to women mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and sexually, exclusively. And because the female sex is viewed as the softer sex or the inferior sex, when you combine two women together, many people view it as a mockery. They think it's a joke. And this is why you have to take care of your mental health, because all of this discrimination and these microaggressions, they actually affect you mentally. They will cause you to think differently about yourself and women who are like you and just the general public. You may be confident in who you are, but you have to be careful about the oppression that you experience day in and day out, because you may start to begin to have feelings of resentment and deep-seated anger towards other people who are not well-rounded, who are very bigoted about who you are as a lesbian. So you have to be careful about your mental health, the way you think about yourself, the way you think about other lesbians, and the way you think about the general public. If you have internalized homophobia, or if you are going through a period of where you're having self-doubt, where you're not sure if being a lesbian is the best option for you. Well, this goes into very dangerous territory, because now you're starting to think that being a lesbian is an option, because we are often programmed to believe that being gay, being lesbian is a choice. So this affects how you think about your sexual orientation. Sexual orientation is ingrained. It is not a choice. But if you are bombarded with messages constantly that you are choosing to be a lesbian, if you're not careful, you may start to believe those lies. Emotionally, you need to take care of yourself. We are often viewed as emotional, but in a derogatory sense, as if we don't have any self-control, as if we are weak. And also, being emotional is viewed as not having the ability to think well. There are many people, especially men, who think that women need guidance. They don't believe that women can learn and educate themselves on their own because they're too emotional. Well, there is a rather new phrase that is called, quote, emotional intelligence, end quote. Emotional intelligence is the ability to know when you need to be empathetic and when you need to be caring and sensitive and compassion to yourself and to other people. Being emotionally intelligent is a wonderful, beautiful quality. So you have to protect your emotions, and you don't need to allow people to violate your emotions or discredit your emotions. A woman being emotional is part of womanhood. It's part of being a female, whether you are a baby, a child, an adolescent, or an adult or a mature adult. Your ability to connect with your emotions and express your emotions is very healthy. So don't allow people to make you feel inferior because you are an emotional female. Your emotions are very necessary. They are signals for you. They are a guide for you to be able to function properly in this world. It's very important that single lesbians actually invest in mental health care, which helps also you emotionally. I am a huge advocate of having a counselor, a mental health professional in your life. Invest in yourself, ladies. Do not let money be the reason why you remain broke. And I do mean that in very many ways. You can be broke mentally. You can be broke emotionally. You can be broke spiritually and broke financially. And the reason why is because you are not taking care of yourself. Take care of your mental health. Take care of your emotional health. Invest in a counselor. Invest in a life coach. I'm in the life coach profession. I speak about this not to boast. I say this because there are so many people who have never hired a life coach, and they are stunted in their growth mentally, emotionally, even physically. There are life coaches who vary in what they can coach and mentor you on. If you want to learn how to cook, if you want to know how to sculpture, if you want to know how to start a business, if you want to know how to be a lawyer, there are people out there who can coach you in those fields. But if you're not taking advantage of the opportunity, then you will not ever know. You will always stay in a state of being plateaued. Self-care is taking care of yourself. I cannot stress that enough. If you don't take care of yourself, you will not be able to take care of anyone around you. Maybe you have children. Maybe you have nieces and nephews. Maybe you have parents, family members. It can be anyone. If you are someone who is active in the community or in your church, if you are not healthy yourself, how can you help someone else to be healthy? You won't be able to, because you are emotionally and mentally and spiritually depleted. Take care of your spiritual health. We live in a world that has brainwashed us to believe as lesbians that we are going against what God says. They have taught you that you are not able to have a relationship with the Most High God unless you are heterosexual. That's pretty much what they're telling you. You are not able to access the Most High God if you are a lesbian, if you are gay, if you are of the LGBTQIA plus community. You don't have rights to the Most High God. This is a major disservice to the lesbian community for us to be segregated and discriminated against when it comes to our faith, our religion, our beliefs. Your spirituality, your connection with the Most High God should be number one priority in your life. Your foundation, your rock needs to be in having a personal relationship with the Most High God. Your most valuable relationship is with God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. Now, I know that there are lesbians who do not believe in the Most High God, well, this message does not apply to you. This message applies to believers and believers who have been stripped of their ability to focus on having a personal relationship with the Lord has been the most dangerous and vicious strategy that has been disseminated for hundreds of years against same-sex attracted people. And as a life coach, I have a priority and a purpose to educate lesbians and just the LGBTQIA plus community about balancing their sexuality and their spirituality. Because usually there's one extreme that lesbians or LGBTQIA plus people fall on to another extreme. And that's the extreme of, well, I am lesbian, I'm gay, I'm bisexual, I'm LGBTQIA plus, and I believe in myself. I support other LGBTQIA plus people, but I don't go to church. I don't really get involved in religious or spiritual activities. I don't. Or there's the other extreme where people who are lesbian, gay, bisexual, or LGBTQIA plus, they actually are very faithful, committed members of their church community. They are very well scripted about what the Holy Bible says. They know scriptures, they can quote them. They live very spiritual lives, but they neglect their sexual orientation. They don't focus on who they are as a same-sex attracted person because they believe there is a conflict between their sexuality and their spirituality. They don't know how to balance the two. And I have a motto. I coach same-gender loving people and teach them how to bridge the gap between their sexual identity and their spiritual identity, end quote. Your spirituality and your sexuality are given to you by the Most High God, and you are not supposed to separate the two. You are not supposed to eliminate one and celebrate the other. You have to be a whole person. You are a multi-dimensional human being. You are a lesbian, and you are supposed to express yourself totally in spirit and in truth. Now, the third activity that lesbians needs to do while single, you need to take care of your physical health. Now, you might say, well, didn't you just talk about taking care of your mental health and your emotional health and your spiritual health? Yes, absolutely. That's the self-care that you need to take care of. But this is on another level of self-care. You have to be physically in shape, ladies. Take care of your physical health. There's usually women who will do part of the whole. Well, I want to get us in the direction of doing the whole. We need to take care of our mental health, our emotional health, our spiritual health, but we also need to take care of our physical health. So those are 4 aspects of our health that we need to take care of. And the number 4 represents wholeness. So let's take care of our mental health, our emotional health, our spiritual health, and our physical health. I know that life can be very distracting, but this is part of being in self-control. You have to take control of your life, ladies, because life is going to keep going on. So if you are someone who goes to bed, wakes up, goes to work, eats, goes back to bed, you're not taking care of your physical health. How do you take care of your physical health? There are so many ways that you can be creative in taking care of your physical health. And let me just say this. As a lesbian, I mentioned earlier that there is a small percentage of lesbians who will remain single perpetually. But most lesbians desire to be in a companionship with a woman. They desire relationship with another human being who is a lesbian or a same-sex attracted woman. If you're bisexual, pansexual, demisexual, asexual, but you have a desire to be in a relationship with a woman, this is who I'm talking to. Most women who are same-sex attracted will not be single forever. Single is a relationship status, but you will transition into another relationship status, which is dating and relationship with another woman. And then you will elevate to the optimal level of having a relationship status, which is called marriage. I 100% uphold same-sex attracted marriages. We need more marriages in the LGBTQIA plus community because it builds legacy, it builds wealth, it builds health, and we are a very powerful community. And we can be even more powerful when we utilize marriage. So, if you don't want to be single forever, ladies, get in shape. Get your body in shape. As a lesbian, we deal with a lot of external oppression and judgment, and a lot of people don't take us seriously. And so you need to be in physical shape. This means you need to be physically strong. You need to work out your body. You need to strengthen your body. This is not just for aesthetic purposes. It's for health purposes, but also for the purposes of protecting yourself. I 100% advocate for self-protection as lesbians because there are people who want to physically attack you. There are men out there who will sexually harass you. You need to be in a position where you can fight. You need to be in a position where your body is physically strong enough to fight a man. Yes, I know men are physically stronger than the average woman, but that does not mean that you can't fight a man if he is attacking you. I do not promote or advocate for causing problems. Absolutely not. But if someone is attacking you, you have every right to protect yourself. It's called self-defense. And when you are single, you need to know self-defense. You need to know how to protect yourself. And it starts with your physical health. And it also starts with educating yourself about how to protect yourself. You need to eat well. We all are different. We all can eat different things. I have to be very mindful about what I eat. I cannot just eat anything. I did a video on my YouTube channel and it's called Lesbian Chosen Ones Can't Eat Everything. You can go watch the video after this if you like. But I have to be very careful about what I eat to the point where if I don't, I can become physically ill. When I eat well, I feel well. I am well. Wellness and health should be a priority in your life, ladies. And when you eat well, when you work out your body, it does change your shape. It changes the form of your body. You become aesthetically exquisite. You become in the 1%, the top 1% of women. Because most women are not taking care of their bodies. And let me ask you this, ladies, and answer this question honestly. Do you want to be in a relationship with another woman who does not take care of her physical body? Do you want to be in a relationship with a woman who does not take care of her physical health? If you are in a relationship with a woman who does not take care of her physical health, this is what's going to happen. She's going to be a liability. And she's also going to be very expensive because she's going to be at the doctor's office quite a bit. She's going to be a liability and very expensive. And then also, yes, she's probably not going to look good. I'm just being honest. We all want someone who looks good physically. If you say that you don't, then you are lying. A big major part of being a lesbian is sexual attraction in another woman. Your physical body, you can literally transform by what you eat, because what you put in your body changes your body for the good or for the bad. Your choice. When you physically train your body to be in shape, most people don't realize this. They focus on like the physical side of it, like what you can externally see, but your body works out within first. Like that blood gets to pumping on the inside, your arteries, your veins, your lungs, your heart, your liver, all of the mechanics on the inside is a machine, and it's moving. And it moves and it functions at the level that you work it. When you work out, you are working out the internal core of your body and you are becoming healthy. That's why you need to work on your physical health, because your physical health starts within. You want to have a healthy heart, healthy lungs, healthy liver. You want healthy intestines, healthy digestive system. You want a healthy cell system, blood system. Everything in you, God gave you. King David says about the body that you have a body that is to be feared. It is a wondrous build that you have. You need to take care of it to get there at the optimal level, and you absolutely can do that. So just to repeat what I mentioned, yes, we need to take care of our health in 4 ways: mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. So this third activity, your physical health, holds a lot of weight. No pun intended. When you learn how to protect yourself physically, when you strengthen your body, when you learn self-defense, when you eat well, when you do whatever activity that you can do to shape your body, you are in the top 1% of women. And you're going to attract your mate even quicker. That's what they don't talk about. A lot of women are still single beyond the time span they should be single because they're not taking care of their physical health. When that woman that you desire overlooks you, it's because she doesn't recognize you, because you're not in the physical health that you should be in. We are physical beings. We're supposed to look good, ladies. You want your spouse to look good, don't you? You want her to think good, feel good, and live well, don't you? I know I do. So I have to practice what I teach. I know that it can get tough sometimes, and you may feel like, oh, you're not making progress, but stick with it. When you develop a habit, I've read that it takes 33 days to develop a habit. So like consecutively 33 days straight, when you do an activity, whatever that physical activity is, when you do it 33 days consecutively, it becomes a habit. That means that you don't have to think about it anymore. You just automatically start doing it. That one habit can be changing how you eat, eating more healthy, eating fresh fruit, clean food. You do that for 33 days consecutive, you develop a habit. A lot of people think about physical health as exercise. Oh, I gotta go work out in the gym. Yes, that's one way of looking at it. And there's some people who really enjoy going to the gym, but you don't have to go to a gym to stay in shape. There's a lot of lesbians who love sports. Do you have a sport that you love? Maybe it's volleyball. I used to play volleyball. Maybe you love to run track. Maybe you love to go hiking. Maybe you love basketball. Maybe you love softball. There's so many different ways. Maybe you love soccer. There's so many ways that you can involve yourself in activities to stay in shape. So pick that activity, ladies, stick to it. And when you do it, then you will fulfill the 3 activities that lesbians need to do while single. I am Giselle Wallace, lesbian life coach and author. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also support my channel by subscribing, but also signing up for life coaching, ordering one of my books. You can go to the link that are on my homepage here on YouTube or under this video in the description box. Just take the time to read it. It doesn't take long, less than 5 minutes, and just support me because I support you. If I know about you, and if you're a woman who's in business and you're a lesbian woman or a same-sex attracted woman, I can support you too, but how can I support you if I don't know about you? If you've never got in touch with me or contacted me, how can I know who you are? So you have to think that way, ladies, lesbians, same-sex attracted women. Also register at Giselle Wallace Lesbian Academy. More courses coming soon. Sign up for life coaching. I'm here for you. Thank you for listening. I am Giselle Wallace.